So your hope spot for this week is Collision from November 30th, 2024. Um, again, a more wrestling centric show than Dynamite. It's the character of the show generally. Starts off with more Continental Classic action with Juice Robinson versus Will Ospreay. Not gonna lie, the addition of Robinson in the tournament kind of seemed a little weird to me, given where he is on kind of the pecking order and where most of the other guys in the tournament are on the pecking order. He seems to be the kind of guy that would be. He's the one who's taking a pin for literally everybody else. But honestly, he and Osprey have surprisingly good chemistry. I thought, though this is Will Osprey we're talking about, so I mean, take that with however much salt you want.
I really love
Uh,
Juice Robinson, and
I think he's a
I want
great
to see him
character.
wrestle everybody, so I love this.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like him, but like that manic, chaotic energy. But I like him more as a character than I do as like in between the ropes guy. Um, that said, like he pulled out a lot of his best stuff here that I've never seen before. Like he had a draping DDT to the floor, a really deep overhook Boston Crab, where he's basically sitting on Osprey's head while grabbing where his thighs begin, as opposed to grabbing him by the ankles.
Mhm.
And then, honestly, even before that, he hit the first proper rude awakening neckbreaker that I've seen in over a decade. Like, I mean, that's Osprey for you. He'll take those dangerous neck bumps if he wants. Um, but yeah, like despite all that, there was nobody Osprey was gonna lose.
Mm.
Like he's Will Osprey. No matter how taped up he was and how much he was selling the damage to his shoulders and arms, and they were taped up, like there was no way he was winning. They're losing this match. So Juice had countered an Oscar previously, but the Hidden Blade does him in eventually when Osprey hits his comeback. Uh, so he gets that comeback or win that he needs after the loss to Fletcher to build himself back up. Um, Unfortunately, I read later on that Juice had somehow, I don't know if it was in this match or not, but he got injured. He was seen in North Carolina's WrestleCade convention using crutches this weekend. So I don't know how they're going to handle that. They could do it a couple of different ways, in my estimation. I know from doing a tiny bit of research that when this kind of things happens in the G1, they don't replace the guy and they just give everybody else in that bracket 3 points as if they beat them. And then they just go on without that extra step in the tournament. I don't know if Tony Khan wants to do that or if he want to replace that spot and just with the idea that okay, well, if you want the spot, you're going to have to eat that 0 points that Juice absorbed in his first match. You could do that way. Um, I like there are several guys that I could see in that spot if they were to replace it. Hook is one. Um, Although I mean he's still kind of tied up with the patriarchy and stuff. I'd like to see him in this environment, see how well he does. He could
Mm.
be Daniel Garcia is in this tournament, but he could be this year's Daniel Garcia. That kind of thing. Put the young kid in there that's probably less experienced than everybody else and see how he holds up.
Mhm.
Um, I mean that tournament, his Danny's participation and performances in that tournament really are what kind of built the launching pad for the rest of for this year. I mean, the year later he's TNT champion after a
Yeah.
long and winding road to get there, but I don't think he would even be in the position that he's in if it wasn't for how well he did in that tournament last year, even if he was only booked to win once. So,
Right.
you know, because he hook in there after seeing Rampage, because I did watch, even though I'm not going to review Rampage, I did wind up watching it because it was right on after uh, Collision anyway. Maybe see if CMLL can spare Hechicero. Uh, love Hechicero.
Mhm.
Uh, he had a match with Commander on Rampage at the main event, and he's every bit the wizard he's advertised to be. I He's so smooth and he comes up with such cool Tekker stuff. I would love to see him in that spot. Uh, you know, I I mean, heck, put Nick Wayne or somebody in. I don't just put anybody in there. I would rather they, injuries happen. It's an unfortunate reality and something you have to just kind of accept in wrestling. Injuries happen. It's dangerous business. I would rather see them instead of just copying G1 note for note. I would rather see them replace them
Hmm.
with somebody, give somebody some TV time. You know, that's just me. We'll see what they do. I mean, I'm sure they'll address it at some point before Dynamite on a platform that hardly anybody sees because that's what AEW's real biggest problem is getting the word out effectively. So, um, but yeah, Kyle Fletcher and the Beast Morthos. Like,
Oh,
I mean, how could this not be great? Like, it's Kyle Fletcher coming off, a string of good performances, but a career-defining performance against Ospreay last week in Full Gear. And we stand the Beast Mortos here on this podcast.
yes, we do.
This could not have been anything but wonderful, and it was wonderful. The crowd, by the way, was very behind Mortos in this. I want to put that out there. Even Don Callis on commentary mentioned it. Though I will say, it kind of bugs me that the whole thing about the Continental Classic is that nobody's to be at ringside. You know what is at ringside? The commentary table is at
Hmm.
ringside.
Yeah.
Why is Don Callis allowed there? Why is Daddy Magic allowed to call Danny Garcia's matches? Like, I get what they add to their matches. I'm not necessarily opposed to that. But when you say ringside, you should say and mean ringside. Those two
Yeah.
should not be there. Should
Yeah.
not be there. What, you're just going to trust Don Callis to stay in his seat? Really? Really? To quote the Miz, really? Uh no. I mean, it what I would like to see is that lesson be learned, demonstrated as part of the story. Like, oh, Don Callis, oh, I guess we, have him actually interfere behind the referee's back and have Tony Khan say, hey, look, this was when I said, made the exception for people to be on commentary, the exception to the ringside rule. It was with the idea that you would stay there and you broke the trust. So, no, you're in the back too. Maybe they do it that way. And
Yeah.
I would be okay with that if this was all to set that up. It's not going to happen. Let's be real. They're just going to, but I don't know. The pedant in me, which is very prevalent, clearly, um, just doesn't like that wording. If you say everybody needs to be banned from ringside, ban them from the entire ringside area. Okay, just keep it what you said it was. But as far as the match is concerned, I love that Mortos keeps showing us weird stuff. Like there was this flipping overhead DDT that he did as a counter to a back body drop. That was insane. He got up on the top rope and then dove over Fletcher's shoulder and hooked him with a crucifix driver. Like the whole match was like this. It was insane. Back and forth, nonstop stuff. Fletcher, unsurprisingly, picks up the victory after running the boot in the corner. Didn't hit him with the corner brainbuster though. I'm wondering if maybe he thought that he couldn't do it because of how Mortos is built. Like they always put over, oh, Mortos is such a big guy, and he is for his size, but he's only what 5'11".
Mm.
Like he's not a tall dude. He's big for his size, but he's not like a giant. So I'm wondering if maybe he was thinking he was too compact and he couldn't hold him up there long enough or
Mm.
something like that on the ropes, which are not level. Whereas he could do it in the center of the ring where it was, or more or less. So he just hits him with the stalling brainbuster in the center of the ring. 1, 2, 3. Uh, Given his card positioning, Mortos is probably going to be picking up a lot of losses in this tournament. But it'd be really nice if Tony Khan could throw him a bone and give him at least one win over somebody higher up on the ladder than he is to kind of give him a little bit of momentum. I would love that for him. The crowd obviously adores the guy, even though he's with the LFI faction, which is not everybody's cup of tea. I enjoy them, but they are a heel faction, and he's still getting cheered.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I think that it would be great if you could throw him a bone and give him an unexpected win in this tournament.
Yeah.
Um, Adam Page versus Wheeler Yuta was really good too. It was weird how good it was given the odd heel dynamic that they walked into it with.
Hmm.
I think it was offset though by more fans getting behind Page a little bit by a little bit over the course of several weeks, and the commentary team seemingly preferring to kind of paint Wheeler Yuta as the lesser evil. Like they didn't really talk crap about Page in this match like they normally do. They just kind of ragged on Wheeler the whole time.
Hmm.
So I don't know if that's going to continue or if they're just going, if they're going to lay off and like slowly turn Page back to what most people would consider a babyface role. Uh, he's still a babyface to me, damn it. But or if it was just to put over Death Riders as the ultimate villains of AEW right now. But it did help, that this could have very easily been the heel match where the commentators didn't have anything to say because they were both supposed to both be against both guys.
Hmm.
Like this guy's a jerk. This guy's a jerk. What do we talk about? How they're both jerks. Like that
Hmm.
that slows down them and really takes away from the enjoyment of the match from a viewer perspective. People in the arena don't care. They don't hear the commentators, but we do.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And as far as the match goes, Page was still selling the leg. Uh,
Hmm.
Good for him. It allows you to be in control of much more of the match than he probably would have been expected to be in control of.
Hmm.
Towards the end, though, the rest of the Death Riders appear in the crowd as Page is kind of making a comeback. They just observe. They don't even interfere when Page wins. They don't even come down to help their guy. They're just kind of non-committal, I guess. And this like Page doesn't really know how to take it, so he gets out a chair and he threatens to do the same thing to Wheeler Yuta that they did to Chuck Taylor and Pillmanize him on the neck. Given his character, I'm not really sure if he would be willing to do it because it's just Wheeler Yuta. He'd be willing to do that to Moxley. I don't know if he'd be willing to do it to Wheeler Yuta,
Hmm.
but he did at least bluff it, which brought Jay White out for some reason. Like maybe just because Page is, his arch nemesis or whatever.
Hmm.
But because he picks up Wheeler Yuta after chasing Page off with his own chair and gives the Blade Runner to Wheeler Yuta again to indifference from the Death Riders. I would say poor Wheeler, but I mean he's a big boy. He made his own decision, and he's living with these jerks who don't care about him. I saw somebody on Blue Sky um, refer to it as Wheeler Yuta is going through his middle school phase where he has a bunch of friends that hate him and he doesn't realize it. And yeah, it's kind of like that. Um, if I had one thing to kind of rag on uh, through this for this show, it's gonna kill me. It's gonna kill me. I hate to say anything bad about it, but the Outrunners versus the Iron Savages was pointless. It was point. I know. It's the Outrunners. I know. I love those guys, but
I love the Outrunners. I really don't like the Iron Savages.
you know what I did love about this match though was
Hmm.
their entrance because they tweaked their entrance to make it look like it was being on 1980s VHS tape.
Yeah, I
Like I
love that.
loved that, adored that, love it. And I feel like this was maybe they put them on TV simply to showcase the new entrants. I don't know because this match was short and was pointless. And this time could have been either given to lengthen the Layla Gray Mina Shirakawa match or give to two other women. Like,
Hmm.
so it just feeds into the problem of not having as much women's content as they should have either. Like I love the Outrunners. I love the FTR and them doing the prayer handshake afterwards. I'm into all that stuff, but it's like there was no point to this
Yeah.
when you have an ongoing criticism of how the women's division, how it's not getting enough attention, and you had an opportunity to address that again here, and it fell through.
Yeah.
For an act that people like, the Outrunners are over, but like, I don't know if this was the wisest choice of time,
Hmm.
you know. So if there was one thing on the show that I didn't really care for all that much, it would be that. But then the main event happened, and Kazuchika Okada and Daniel Garcia had a banger. I was worried, really, going into this particular match, what they were going to do, because both guys are champions.
Hmm.
And they did what I forgot they could do, and it worked out for the best. Garcia has a lot of early offense in. He wrestled with this huge chip on his shoulder against the greatest Japanese wrestling draw of the modern era. And Okada offers him his handshake for like beating him up a little bit and out wrestling him for the first 2 minutes or so. But he does like the Ric Flair thing where he takes it back and like slicks his hair back, and
Hmm.
Garcia just slaps him upside the head and just beats the crap out of him. And it did not go well for Okada. Garcia's all over him for like several
Hmm.
minutes until they take it outside, and Okada he's down in the corner of the barricade there, and he goes to Aubrey. He's like, "Oh, I'm hurt. I'm hurt. You got to call this off." And so as she's turning around, he sneaks back up, gets the chair, and uh, jabs Garcia in the stomach with it. Makes his miraculous recovery as Aubrey turns around. Oh, it's all good. Oh, my shoulder. Oh, yeah. I popped it back into place. It's good now. Great heel stuff. Um, from there on, it was pretty much all Okada. He had, it was just kind of an extended beatdown, kind of slow. The commentators uh, put it over as been like, "Oh, this is just the first match of the tournament." And these tournaments, these round robin tournaments, you're fighting every week a different opponent with different strengths and everything, and it's grueling. And he's the one who's defending his title here too. So more than
Hmm.
anybody else, he probably feels the need to win this tournament. So he's taking it slow, to start so that he has the energy for the rest of the tournament, which I don't know if I buy that because these guys wrestle at it for every week anyway.
Hmm.
But but at least they were trying to cover it.
Yeah.
That being said, he hits all of his stuff. He had him in the money clip at one point, and Garcia got out of it. I like the money clip. Nobody else uses that submission hold, so I think it's pretty cool. Anytime he brings it out,
Yeah.
eventually he gets his moves to do, man. The body slam, the elbow drop, and he's going to go for the rainmaker as he stands over a prone Garcia. But so he's going to do the rainmaker pose, but instead he does the Garcia dance and brings the middle finger down to get him,
Hmm.
and it costs him. And Garcia wraps him up in an ankle lock. I loved that spot. It was great for Okada's character, who without the Bucks there, he has nobody to really play off of except his opponents. He's still cheeky. He's still a silly heel to a degree, but he's very much, I mean, he's still dangerous in there. He showed that in this match.
Hmm.
So I think it's this great melding without the distraction of the Bucks that often happens. Um, he gets taken down eventually and locked into the Dragon Tamer. Just as Garcia's putting him in it, the ring announcer's like, "There's only a minute left." I'm like, "Oh, they're gonna go for a
Oh,
draw."
yeah.
I completely, I love this tournament, but I had completely forgotten about the draw possibility. And this was the way to do it. This protects both guys. Garcia, they go to the limit. It looks like Okada's going to tap, but he doesn't. Time expires. He offers him a handshake again and then flips him off as he goes for it, leaving
Hmm.
Garcia just looking like, really? After all that, you still don't respect me? Like,
Yeah,
There's some legs down, even if it's not in this tournament. I think there's some legs down the line to revisit this between these two, and I, for one, would welcome it.
for
Just
sure.
really good, fantastic storytelling here, and it made Garcia look like a real player. He just went the distance with the Continental Champion himself. The greatest Japanese wrestler of a generation. So, I mean, you could certainly do worse. Big ups for that.
Yeah, it was a really good one. I enjoyed it.
But yeah, I'm done talking now. It's I mean, at least for a little bit, it's time for the hot tag.